Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Renegade Immortal Part 251 to 252 based on novel. So let's start. At this moment, Wang Lin walked out from the vortex in the sky. The moment he appeared, his mind trembled and he suddenly looked toward the wind demon country. He vaguely felt a monstrous resentment toward him. This feeling appeared only for an instant before it disappeared as if it was never there. Behind him, Sichu Nan and company appeared. They floated in the air and looked down. Aside from Master Hollow Wind, this was the first time everyone else had come here. Although the three Chen brothers belonged to a rank 7 country, they previously weren't interested in the demon spirit land. Now that they arrived, they couldn't help but look around. After returning to a familiar place, Wang Lin felt regretful. His first thought wasn't to go to the Celestial Cave but to check the Soul Refining Tribe. Back then, he had to flee, so he was in a rush. Thinking about it now, he felt regretful. The Soul Refining Tribe was created to complete the last wish of Master Dun Tian. I wonder if it still exists, and there is also 13. Wang Lin couldn't forget the loyal 13 that followed him. In his life, he had only met one person as loyal as 13. Thinking about 13, another person appeared in Wang Lin's mind. Hu Pao. 13's loyalty and Hu Pao's betrayal became a stark contrast that was engraved in Wang Lin's mind. He couldn't forget how he slaughtered into an army of more than 100,000 in the Demon General's city to save those two people. At that time, he didn't know that Hu Pao had already betrayed him, but even if he did, he still would have done it. He couldn't forget what he said that day while looking at the sky as if he was trying to prove his Tao. There are things in this world that are meant to be and some that aren't. Cultivators seek immorality and to escape from fate. Normally, they would avoid disaster and welcome the heavens. 13 and Hu Pao have no relationship with me. I went against the will of the Demon General, meaning I went against the demon country. This was not worth considering for those that only cared about the benefit. I'm not a gentleman or a villain. I'm not sincere or hypocritical. It's just that there are certain things in this world I must do. However, I, Wang Lin, walk within this world not to seek to follow the Tao of the heavens, I seek to have no regrets in my heart. From this point of view, I'm not suited to become a cultivator. However, there are certain things I must do. If I don't save 13, then what Tao am I searching for? Wang Lin let out a sigh as he looked at the familiar world. He slapped his bag of holding and a palm-sized compass appeared in his hand. This was something that was necessary to enter the fourth cave. After handing this to Sichu Nan and explaining the details of releasing some of the restrictions, Sichu Nan looked meaningfully at Wang Lin. He understood Wang Lin enough to know that Wang Lin was going to meet some old friends. As a result, he didn't waste any time. With his cultivation, along with Master Hollow Wind, the woman in silver, the three Chen brothers, and Big Head, it wouldn't be hard to break these restrictions. The real difficulty would likely be at the final restriction. Sichu Nan opened the token according to Wang Lin's method. They all disappeared and entered the Celestial Cave to begin breaking the restrictions by force. There were countless restrictions inside the Celestial Cave. Only by breaking all of them could they enter the core, and that was their target. Unlike the All-Seer and Ling Tianhu, who had already broken all the restrictions in their caves, Wang Lin's progress was lacking. Moreover, Wang Lin still had the token to the cave in his hands. As long as he was in the demon spirit land, he could enter the cave at any time. With Wang Lin's current cultivation, he just had to make some slight changes to the token so that Sichu Nan and company wouldn't be attacked by the spirit of the cave. After solving this problem, Wang Lin pondered for a bit, then his divine sense slowly spread out. With his current Nirvana Scryer cultivation, he easily covered the entire demon spirit land with his divine sense. Just as Wang Lin's divine spread out, his divine sense inside the black stone statue being worshipped by the Soul Refining Tribe suddenly released a black light. This black light was filled with endless coldness, and a mysterious force shot into the sky. The moment it touched Wang Lin's divine sense, they integrated together. The black light from the statue gradually became stronger, until it covered more than half of the sky above the fire demon country. Countless soul-refining tribe members stared dumbfoundedly at the ancestor's statue. It wasn't certain who reacted first, but some people immediately knelt down on the ground. Then almost all the soul-refining tribe members knelt down with excitement in their eyes. The ancestor's spirit has manifested. The ancestor's spirit has manifested. Roars spread like rumbling echoes across the city. Ouyang Hua's eyes revealed look of disbelief, and he looked at 13. At this moment, 13 was trembling as he looked into the sky. He had a vague feeling. Ancestor has returned. Ouyang Hua took a deep breath and ecstasy flashed through his eyes. He respected Wang Lin from the bottom of his heart, but even more than respect, there was fear. It was precisely due to this fear that even though the soul-refining tribe continued to grow larger, he didn't dare to rebel at all. Wang Lin's eyes shined brightly and revealed a strange light. He naturally saw the soul-refining tribe with his divine sense and found that it had expanded greatly. This wasn't important. What made him feel disbelief was the mysterious power that had just integrated with his divine sense. Wang Lin had cultivated for over 1,000 years and encountered many different kinds of powers. However, he had never encountered one like this before. He couldn't tell what kind of feeling it was, but the moment that mysterious power integrated with him, he felt countless images flashing through his mind. Without exception, all these images were the soul-refining tribe worshipping the statue. They were all filled with unimaginable fanaticism. It was as if as long as the statue gave an order, they would do it no matter the cost. Even if they lost their lives, they would have no regrets. This kind of terrifying frenzy even moved Wang Lin. It was the worship for millions of soul-refining tribe members toward this stone statue for the past hundreds of years that created this strange force that even Wang Lin didn't understand. While pondering, Wang Lin took a step and disappeared. When he reappeared, he was above the capital of the Fire Demon country. Standing here, he was able to see the scene of millions of people kneeling. Speaking of millions of people might make it sound like it's not a lot, but looking at it in person, he saw an endless sea of people cover the ground. There were flags sticking out everywhere that danced in the wind, and the wails of the soul fragments filled the world. The moment Wang Lin appeared, all of the soul fragments let out sharp cries as if they had encountered their true master. Ouyang Hua's body trembled and revealed excitement that he hadn't shown in hundreds of years. He stared blankly at Wang Lin and said, "Ouyang Hua greets ancestor. I welcome ancestor's return." After he spoke, some people almost immediately looked up and saw Wang Lin. Almost every single tribe member who saw Wang Lin felt a buzz in their brain. They had no doubts as they immediately recognized this person as the person they had been worshipping for hundreds of years, their ancestor, Wang Lin. All of this was because of the stone statue. It was a carving of Wang Lin. Ancestor. It really is ancestor. Ancestor has returned. Ancestor didn't abandon us. Ancestor has returned. Bursts of shouts filled with surprise and frenzy soon rumbled like thunder. Millions of people became excited at once, and their shouting caused even the earth to tremble. Even the clouds in the sky had to retreat. Welcome, ancestor. It was unknown who said it first, but eventually, millions of soul-refining tribe members shouted at once. Even Wang Lin's ears buzzed. Even with Wang Lin's mental strength, he was startled. He could clearly feel white gas come out of these people and go to the stone statue at the center of the capital. The stone statue absorbed it all, becoming even more smooth and giving off a demonic feel. The soul-refining tribe members' gazes were all filled with excitement that even shocked Wang Lin. 13 rushed through the crowd and knelt down before Wang Lin. Although his body was trembling, his voice was the loudest it had been in hundreds of years. 13 welcomes the return of ancestor. 13's words ignited the enthusiasm of the countless tribe members. In addition, more white gas floated out from everyone and entered the black statue. Soul flags began to wave as if a black sea had suddenly appeared. The soul fragments flew out from the flags and shrouded the entire Fire Demon country in a black fog. The number of soul fragments was unimaginable. Looking at the people of the soul-refining tribe, Wang Lin found some of them familiar, though he couldn't remember their names. They were obviously elders that were around when he was here last time. I have returned. Wang Lin's voice slowly spread and fell from the sky into everyone's ears. Although it was only 3 simple words, these 3 simple words were like bolts of lightning falling from the sky. Everyone within the Soul Refining tribe cheered. As the Soul Refining tribe cheered, Wang Lin gradually descended and landed on the wall of the capital of the Fire Demon country. He had returned here once more after hundreds of years. Wang Lin's return caused a frenzy among the Soul Refining tribe members. The Fire Demon country was renamed to the Soul Refining sect by Wang Lin. The Soul Refining sect had millions of disciples. If you were to count all the soul fragments gathered by the disciples, it would be an unimaginable number. It could be said that the Soul Refining sect wouldn't be weak even in a rank 7 cultivation country. Wang Lin looked at the sky and muttered, "Senior Dun Tian, disciple has fulfilled the promise from back then." Although the method the millions of Soul Refining sect disciples cultivated wasn't complete, now that he had returned, he took out the complete methods without hesitation. Of course, the weakness Wang Lin left where he could take the soul fragments at any time wasn't changed. When all of the cultivation methods of the Soul Refining sect were passed down to the disciples, all of them entered a crazed cultivation stage. In addition, after hesitating for a while, Wang Lin left a copy of the 9-cycle celestial refining tactic he got from his 4th senior sister from the Purple Divine. This became the forbidden spell of the Soul Refining sect. If the 9-cycle celestial refining tactic was cultivated to the extreme, it was extremely powerful. Although it was useless to Wang Lin, it was like a celestial spell for the disciples of the Soul Refining sect. In addition, Wang Lin made a big decision. After placing down many restrictions, he entered the Treasure Pavilion, under the cover of countless soul fragment. The Treasure Pavilion was sealed by Wang Lin inside his body. He could easily enter it with a thought, so there was no need to take it out. Ever since he obtained it, he had only taken it out once. That time was right before he came here. He had set up a large amount of restrictions on planet Water Spirit and opened it. It was all to gift Situ Nan a fortune. To this day, Wang Lin still remembered Situ Nan's dumbfounded expression when he realized what the Treasure Pavilion was and what it represented in the celestial realm. This kind of expression was very rare to see from Situ Nan. After he recovered, Situ Nan's eyes shined brightly. Even at night, his eyes shined like the sun, revealing the excitement in his heart. Celestial spells were split into low, middle, and high quality. There were also top-quality celestial spells, but right now even a complete low-quality celestial spell could cause a catastrophe. The most widespread were incomplete celestial spells. Spells that were derived from these incomplete celestial spells were obviously weaker than the real thing. Only those powerful cultivators had the qualifications and strength to obtain complete celestial spells. However, complete celestial spells were too rare. There was no need to talk about complete middle quality or high quality celestial spells. They were enough to make any cultivator go crazy. Even cultivators at the Nirvana Shatterer stage would be shocked by this. If they found out that the top level contained celestial spells left by Celestial Emperor by Fan, they would go crazy as well. After all, the Treasure Pavilion had preserved most of the celestial spells of the Thunder Celestial Realm. What's more, on the last floor, aside from Celestial Emperor by Fan's spells, there were also spells for Celestial Lords. It was a heavenly treasure for Nirvana Scatterer cultivators. If Nirvana Shatterer cultivators would be like this, there was no need to talk about Nirvana Scryer and Nirvana Cleanser cultivators. That was why Wang Lin was extremely cautious about the Treasured Pavilion. Situ Nan had obtained huge benefits inside the Treasure Pavilion. The ecstasy in Situ Nan's eyes let Wang Lin know that although Situ Nan's cultivation level hadn't increased, the celestial spells he obtained thanks to his talent would make Situ Nan a terrifying force for the enemy to face. During that time, Wang Lin selected a middle-quality celestial spell called Gather Spirit. After comprehending it, he used it trade for the 3 Chen brothers' help. Their eyes were red, and they agreed to help without any hesitation. At this moment, Wang Lin searched through the Treasure Pavilion and took out 4 low-quality celestial spells. The cultivation of the current disciples of the Soul Refining sect was in an abnormal state. They had good control over souls and their entire cultivation relied on the soul flags. That's why the celestial spells Wang Lin picked were all related to the souls. However, celestial spells weren't something they could cultivate. Wang Lin had learned the fundamentals of the spells before splitting them into various forbidden spells that were passed down. As for Ouyang Hua, Wang Lin wasn't stingy. He took out a complete low-quality celestial spell called the Soul Refining Ascension to give Ouyang Hua as a reward for his hundreds of years of hard work. It wasn't that Wang Lin didn't want to give Ouyang Hua a middle-quality celestial spell, but Ouyang Hua's cultivation was too abnormal. If he used all 99 soul flags, he could battle an ascendant cultivator, but without the flags, his cultivation level would plummet. The Soul Refining Ascension was already very difficult for Ouyang Hua to cultivate. After all, it was a complete celestial spell. As for 13, Wang Lin spared no effort. He went into the celestial cave to find Lei Ji and returned after he obtained enough blood. 13 was soaked in Lei Ji's royal giant demon clan blood, allowing his body to undergo a huge change in a short period of time. Although the pain was not something an ordinary person could withstand, 13 endured it all. In the end, after hesitating for a bit, Wang Lin's eyes lit up as he dropped a few drops of his own royal ancient god blood between 13's eyebrows. At this moment, 13's body trembled violently. Even with his mental fortitude, he couldn't withstand the pain. It felt as if something was devouring his body. After all of this, 13, who was reborn through the pain, exuded an aura like a demon god. The power of his body was strong enough to fight peak late-stage ascendant cultivators, and he was filled with endless potential. Just this wasn't enough, so Wang Lin took out a lot of treasures and melted them. Then he infused them into 13's body like how he refined a celestial guard, but he didn't damage 13's soul. 13 endured the pain by holding on to his loyalty to Wang Lin, and after the countless treasures were infused, he had the body of a silver celestial guard. He could withstand the attack of an illusory yin cultivator. He also still had his consciousness, so he was very different from a celestial guard. After all, Wang Lin wouldn't refine 13 into a celestial guard. Wang Lin had a lot of emotion toward 13 as he had basically watched 13 grow up. In Wang Lin's heart, he had two disciples. The elder disciple was 13, and the other was Xieqing back in all heaven. Wang Lin would not be stingy toward his own disciples, especially one so loyal. He chose a middle-quality celestial spell called Celestial Soul, divided it into 3 parts, and imparted them to 13. As long as 13 completely cultivated these 3 parts, he would be able to truly cultivate Celestial Soul. Aside from 13 and Ouyang Hua, there were several other leaders that were allowed to cultivate the forbidden spells Wang Lin had especially prepared for the soul refining sect. Wang Lin didn't participate too much in the soul refining sect, he allowed them to develop on their own. After teaching them spells, Wang Lin took a majority of the treasures he had gathered and used them for the sect's treasure pavilion. He let Ouyang Hua and company gift them to disciples that had contributed to the sect. After doing all this, Wang Lin completed a wish of his. Then he arrived before the stone statue without allowing anyone else to follow him. This black stone statue had already been moved to the valley behind the palace. Wang Lin wasn't unfamiliar with this place. He once came here and released ancient demon Bei Lu, allowing him to devour the ancient demon spirit here. The valley hadn't changed and was same as several hundred years ago. Standing here, Wang Lin had an illusion that he had returned to hundreds of years ago. However, the statue that originally stored the ancient demon spirit was now replaced with a black statue. The black statue was a carving of Wang Lin. Looking at the statue, Wang Lin had the illusion that the statue was looking at him. It was as if this statue was alive. Why is it like this? Wang Lin's eyes lit up. He had asked 13 about this matter and knew that it was only a normal stone carved into the image of Wang Lin based on their memory. At the start, only people who knew Wang Lin could vaguely tell it was him, and no one else could recognize him. After all, they weren't craftsmen. The stone statue was extremely rough as well. 13 and Ouyang Hua couldn't do much about it. They had made this carving to allow the ancestor to forever remain in their hearts, to allow this statue to become an existence like the statue of the ancient demons in the demon countries. However, the strange part was that as time passed and the soul-refining tribe grew, The statue became smoother as countless people worshipped it every day. What shocked 13 and company was that not only was it no longer rough, it became smooth and began to slowly change. After hundreds of years, the statue that started out as a rough statue changed until it looked almost exactly like Wang Lin. Even his ancient aura from living over 1,000 years could be felt. 13 and company were very confused about this matter. They could only leave it as the ancestor's spirit. This stone statue made Wang Lin curious. There weren't many things that made Wang Lin curious, but he unconsciously wanted to get to the bottom of this matter. After all, this stone statue was too strange. Wang Lin frowned as he walked forward before the statue. He looked at the statue and then his expression suddenly changed. The feeling that the statue was looking back at him became instantly more clear at this moment. The surroundings weren't quiet. The cheers from the soul-refining sect came from the distance. However, to Wang Lin, the world was quiet, as if nothing but him and the statue remained. There was a flash of coldness in Wang Lin's eyes. Then his hands formed a sword and he slowly pressed down between the eyebrows of the statue. 1. The place where you can get celestial spells. He took it from the Thunder Celestial Realm a while back. This item is ominous. This was the first thought Wang Lin had when facing this statue. His right index finger moved like lightning toward between the eyebrows of the stone statue. At this moment, dark light shined out from the eyes of the stone statue and formed a strange rune between its eyebrows. This rune released a black mist that contained a strange power. The power entered the rune and blocked Wang Lin's finger. Wang Lin's index finger touched the rune without any hesitation. A ripple appeared where he touched the rune. The moment the ripple appeared, the mysterious power that fused into Wang Lin's divine sense seemed to awaken and spread across Wang Lin's origin soul like black ink. There was a flash of coldness in Wang Lin's eyes. He had already thought that there was something strange about this black stone statue, and it was as he expected. He let out a cold snort and the ancient god leather armor around his origin soul gave off a burst of green light. At the same time, his ancient thunder dragon origin soul released a muffled roar. Countless thunderbolts appeared in the sky above the valley Wang Lin was in. It wasn't only this valley. At this moment, the entire sky above the Fire Demon country was covered by endless thunder. This sudden change caused the soul-refining sect members in the Fire Demon country to look up in confusion. As the thunder echoed across the world, not only the Fire Demon country, but the surrounding countries were covered in thunder as well. The countless bolts of thunder descending displayed the might of thunder. In almost an instant, more than half of the demon spirit land was shrouded in thunder. This sudden change caused the residents of the demon spirit land to panic. Even the demon generals and commander-in-chiefs were filled with fear as they looked up at the sky. They could vaguely tell that this thunder wasn't natural and was caused by a spell. Although all of this sounds long, it all only took a few seconds. With a roar of Wang Lin's ancient thunder dragon soul, all of the thunder that covered more than half of the demon spirit land rushed toward the valley behind the capital of the Fire Demon country. The flash of thunder caused a heaven-shattering rumble, as if the wrath of the heavens was descending to deal out punishment. If one looked from above, they would see countless bolts of thunder gather inside Wang Lin's body in the valley. Rumble, rumble, rumble. The continuous rumbles echoed as the bolts of thunder entered Wang Lin's origin soul. His ancient thunder dragon origin soul began to roar and started its battle with the black ink. Although the black ink was tenacious, thanks to the endless thunder, it was on the verge of collapse. After all, not much of this mysterious force had entered Wang Lin's divine sense. The moment that power first appeared, Wang Lin had surrounded it with origin energy. After constantly losing, the black ink rapidly retreated until it condensed into a dot. Just as it was about to leave Wang Lin's origin soul, the green light from the ancient god leather armor sealed all paths of retreat. Then all the thunder absorbed by his ancient thunder dragon origin soul was shot out in one blow. This attack landed on the black dot, causing it to collapse completely. All of this happened in an instant inside Wang Lin's body. There was a flash of coldness in Wang Lin's eyes as his right index finger pushed forward and the rune collapsed. The rune shattered into a shockwave that spread out, allowing Wang Lin's index finger to finally press down between the statue's eyebrows. The moment Wang Lin's index finger touched the statue, His peak mid-stage nirvana scryer cultivation, along with his powerful divine sense, rushed into the statue. I want to see exactly what this is. When Wang Lin's cultivation and divine sense entered, he felt an impact on his origin soul. What appeared before his divine sense was a strange land. This place was filled with white mist, it was almost a fog sea. Wang Lin only took a glance and recognized this white mist as the aura that come out of the heads of all the soul-refining tribe members when they worshipped the statue for the past hundreds of years. After letting out a cold snort, his divine sense spread out across this strange place. Then his eyes narrowed and his divine sense locked onto something ahead. His divine sense and cultivation fused together to form an illusion of Wang Lin, and arrived it where his divine sense was locked onto. This was the center of the statue, so this statue's dantian would be here. The mist before Wang Lin was even denser here, and there was a figure sitting within the mist that could barely be seen. Although it was blurred by the mist, Wang Lin could clearly tell that the figure was exactly the same as him, aside from the pair of horns on its head. After seeing the pair of horns, Wang Lin's eyes shined. Ancient demon. The ancient demon that was exactly the same as Wang Lin had its eyes closed and remained motionless. The slivers of the white mist around it would sometimes enter its body. Wang Lin's expression was a bit strange. Aside from the pair of horns, the ancient demon was almost no different from him. Even the cold and aloof aura was exactly the same, along with the trace of loneliness and over 1,000 years of Tao comprehension. Even Wang Lin found it difficult to distinguish it from himself. What exactly is going on? Wang Lin's eyes lit up as he stared at the ancient demon that looked exactly like him. He waved his hand and a gust of wind blew away all the mist around the ancient demon. Wang Lin slowly approached and noticed some key points. Ancient gods could absorb origin energy through god salves to increase their cultivation level. The ancient demons belonged to the same ancient order clan, so they had to have similar methods. It was obvious that the entire demon spirit land was built for an ancient demons to absorb origin energy. Ancient demon Bei Lu once said that he was split into 9 parts, and that's how the 9 countries came to be. The people of the 9 countries gradually changed under the teachings of the ancient demon and learned spells. Then the 9 demon countries slowly formed from there onwards. Each ancient demon spirit was the top existence in each of the demon countries. They absorbed demonic energy from the people here to slowly heal, hoping to break through their restrictions. Then they would devour the other demon spirits to turn back into a real ancient demon. Wang Lin's arrival and his cooperation with ancient demon Bei Lu caused a heaven-shaking change to this stalemate that still required countless more years to end. With Wang Lin's help, ancient demon Bei Lu left his demon country and successfully devoured the ancient demon spirit in the fire demon country. Bei Lu became the strongest out of the remaining 8 ancient demon spirits and obtained the power to leave his country. If there are no accidents, once he digests the ancient demon spirit he devoured, he will devour the other 7 one by one until he becomes a true ancient demon. Wang Lin didn't know if Bei Lu was successful or not, but after seeing this ancient demon that looked exactly like him, he knew Bei Lu hadn't completely succeeded. As a 5-star royal ancient god, Wang Lin could tell at a glance that this ancient demon wasn't complete, it was even weaker than one of the 9 parts from back then. To be more accurate, this ancient demon was only a remnant. A remnant of an ancient demon spirit also knows to absorb demonic energy to heal itself, Wang Lin sneered. He now understood that the white mist coming from the heads of the soul-refining tribe members was faint demonic energy. All of the members of the soul-refining tribe were born in the demon spirit land. After seeing the ancient demon, Wang Lin understood the reason. While pondering, Wang Lin arrived next to the ancient demon that looked exactly like him. The ancient demon's eyes were still closed, without any signs of awakening. Wang Lin directly pressed down between the ancient demon's eyebrows and his divine sense entered the ancient demon to search its memories. He saw the originally sunny sky above the cloud demon country suddenly darken. A storm formed, and as clouds gathered, a blood-colored figure charged through the sky toward the royal 9-layered cloud demon tower. A sharp cry came out of the tower, and there was a hint of disbelief in this voice. The 9 spirits need to reunite into one. Only by becoming an ancient demon once more can we get rid of our regret. Cloud demon, we were originally one, and we have been separated for too long. Today, we will fuse once more. The name of the ancient demon will be Bei Lu. A demonic voice came from the blood shadow as it quickly charged into the Cloud Demon Tower. A series of rumbles echoed across the world, and everyone inside the capital was sent into a panic. However, the rumble disappeared after a moment, but following that, the Cloud Demon Tower collapsed. As it collapsed, a blurred demonic shadow flew out and was surrounded by a bloodlight. Eventually, it was devoured by the bloodlight, which then turned into Bei Lu. It has been so long, yet this cloud demon's cultivation level hasn't increased at all. What a waste. It's a disgrace to me as an ancient demon. Bei Lui let out a cold snort and disappeared. The cloud demon country collapsed as there was no ancient demon spirit left. However, 3 days after Bei Lu left, an extremely weak shadow flew out from the ruins of the Cloud Demon Tower. It was filled with hatred and confusion as it carefully flew forward. If I had 100 more years, I could have completed the demon split spell. Unfortunately, this demonic sense is too weak and the main body has been devoured. This demonic sense is like a tree without roots and could dissipate at any time. The Cloud Demon Tower has collapsed, so I can no longer stay. I don't dare enter another demon country to absorb demonic energy. This demonic sense carefully flew forward, however, he was simply too weak and could be wiped from existence at any moment. While he flew in the sky, he was slowly dissipating. In the end, he was about to collapse, and even his memories became blurry. He was about to dissipate completely. Just as he was about to disappear forever, he vaguely felt demonic energy below him. The soul refining tribe was right below him. There weren't many soul refining tribe members back then, only a few 100,000 people. Most of them were spread out, looking for places with soul fragments. Only a few tens of thousands of people remained in the tribe's lands. These people were all worshipping a black stone statue feverishly. Demonic energy came out of their heads and surrounded the area. The demonic sense of the cloud demon that had dissipated too much and was moving only subconsciously charged at the black statue. The moment it entered the statue, it seemed to become alive, and the surrounding demonic energy began to gather toward it. As time passed, the cloud demon slowly settled down in the statue. He had lost too many memories during his escape, and the rest became blurry. He was not even the original body and was just a sliver of demonic sense. All the demonic energy coming from the soul refining tribe members' worship was filled with thoughts of a person called Wang Lin. At the start, he resisted it, but when the number of soul refining tribe members passed 1 million, he gradually felt like his name was Wang Lin under the constant worship of the tribe members, that he was their ancestor. He spent hundreds of years with such thoughts. As the soul refining tribe grew to millions, the constant worship made him completely abandon his past, and now he thought he was Wang Lin. As he was changed, the statue slowly changed into Wang Lin's appearance. He also became Wang Lin inside the statue. Wang Lin raised his right hand and looked at the ancient demon that looked exactly the same as him. The strange light in his eyes became even stronger. Even he found what he saw unbelievable. Combining his own speculations, Wang Lin gained a detailed understanding of what had happened. After pondering for a bit, Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he stared at the ancient demon and muttered, "For an ancient demon to be sent to my doorstep, it would be a pity not to take it. Since even he thinks he is me, then, just let him be my second avatar. My original body is an ancient god, my first avatar is a cultivator, and my second avatar is an ancient demon. I wonder if I can create a third avatar that is an ancient devil. At that time, when they all fuse. I wonder if I can revert back to the ancient order." Wang Lin's heart pounded as he looked at the ancient demon that delivered itself to him, and he smiled. His body flickered and he left the statue. His divine sense and cultivation returned back to his body. He looked at the black statue before him and his smile widened. He took a deep breath and sat down, placing his hand on his knees. Then he spat out essence origin energy that shrouded the stone statue before placing down restrictions on the statue. If he wanted to make this his second avatar, he had to refine it until it was one with his mind. He had to be able to manipulate it at will and it could no reject his origin soul. Instead, his origin soul should easily be able to replace it if needed. Although this sounds simple, in truth was extremely difficult. Although it could be done by force, it is only useful against puppets far weaker than himself. Even if it succeeded, it would be useless as an avatar. However, if it wasn't weaker than him, he couldn't use force. In conclusion, it became the first hurdle to overcome. Since he couldn't force it, he had to slowly refine it day by day and consume a lot of time for a low chance of success. However, even if it succeeded, there was still a flaw. There was still a chance the avatar would rebel. However, this wasn't a difficult matter for Wang Lin since this ancient demon already believed he was Wang Lin, so not much refining was required. All Wang Lin had to do was integrate his divine sense and make sure the ancient demon knew who the original was. This wasn't difficult for Wang Lin. He had a higher cultivation level than the ancient demon and he was an ancient god. However, Wang Lin was cautious in the remaining few days. Not only did he completely integrate his divine sense into the ancient demon, he also left an imprint on the seal. Also, he left a large amount of restrictions inside the avatar. If this avatar ever rebelled, Wang Lin could immediately subdue it with a thought. If he stopped here, it wouldn't be Wang Lin's style. In addition, he used some of Celestial Emperor Qing Lin's methods to control puppets on this second avatar. Only when he had absolute control did he relax. Looking at the stone statue before him, he felt as if it was one with him. It is a pity this second avatar has no physical body and must exist inside the stone statue. It can't separate from it for now, and if it attacks, it mainly uses the demonic sense. It's also very weak, only late-stage ascendant. However, this is a sliver of demonic sense. If it has enough demonic energy, it will grow and reach the level of an ancient demon. Wang Lin's eyes lit up. He knew that he couldn't rush this and that he had to do this slowly. After dealing with the matter at the soul refining sect, Wang Lin didn't take the stone statue with him. Instead, he laid down some powerful restrictions and ordered the soul refining sect to continue to worship it. This second avatar is a seed. Right now, it's not of any use to me, but once it grows, there was a glimmer of anticipation in Wang Lin's eyes. Then his body flickered and he disappeared. Although the Sky Demon country had won the battle against the Fire Demon country hundreds of years ago, their casualties were too heavy. Even today, after hundreds of years, their population was far smaller than before. Even the most prosperous Sky Demon country capital, while not bleak, wasn't as bustling as when Wang Lin first arrived. There were still shops along the streets, but not many pedestrians. The few pedestrians only took a few glances at the shops before quickly leaving. There was a long river through the inner city that connected with the river in the outer city and formed a cycle. At this moment, Wang Lin quietly sat on the side of the river and watched the river flow. If a power could turn back time to hundreds of years ago, then you would find that he was sitting exactly where he sat before. At this moment, he was still the same person at the same position next to the same river, but there was no flower boat on the river and there was no zither music to flow into his ears. A trace of melancholy appeared in Wang Lin's heart as he looked at the empty river. It was as if he could hear the echo of the zipper music from hundreds of years ago. However, this music was very weak, as if the wind could cause it to dissipate and never be heard again. Thinking about it now, if not for drinking with the Demon Emperor for a night, Wang Lin probably would have never seen the face of the woman who played the zither. Even now, Wang Lin still only remembered her lonely figure and the zither music filled with sadness. Sitting there while watching the sunset, Wang Lin immersed himself in his memories. At this moment, he felt the passage of time. In the blink of an eye, hundreds of years had passed. It could wash everything but his eternal memories. Perhaps this is the tragedy of life. Wang Lin let out a sigh. Time existed because one had memories. If one had no memories, then there was no passage of time. I wonder if Mo Lihai is still around. There was a wine jug beside Wang Lin. This wine came from the same shop as back then. After generations, the label was still the same, but the wine. Wang Lin picked it up and took a sip. Even the taste has changed. Wang Lin bitterly smiled and put down the wine jug. Of course it changed. The descendants of that old man don't have the skill of their ancestor, so they can't recreate the same taste as before. A calm voice came from behind Wang Lin. It was filled with exhaustion. Wang Lin didn't turn around and let out a sigh. We haven't met in hundreds of years. The demon emperor isn't as carefree as before. A sigh came from behind Wang Lin. A middle-aged man wearing purple sat down beside Wang Lin. He was extremely handsome, showing a hint of what he once looked like. However, now he had strands of white hair and looked older. Drink it and try it. The middle-aged man took out a wine jug and handed it to Wang Lin. Wang Lin took it and drank a sip. He smiled and said, "It's the wine from back then. I knew you would definitely come back, so I saved a lot to drink with you." The middle-aged man waved his hand and another jug appeared. He took a big gulp before he smiled and said, "Brother Wang, do you feel melancholy without the zither music from back then?" The sound of the zither music slowly came from the distance, carrying a trace of loneliness and sadness. A moment later, a large ship came down the river. At the head of the ship sat the woman with her back toward Wang Lin, playing the zither. Part 252. Wang Lin held the wine jug in his hand as he watched the gradually passing boat. The zither music entered his ears as if he had returned to hundreds of years ago. However, this zither music only had the sound without the charm from back then. The person playing the zither was no longer the blind woman from back then. After drinking a sip of wine, Wang Lin sighed. The demon emperor is caring. The middle-aged man didn't speak. The two of them just sat by the river and drank one jug after another. The sun set and the earth was shrouded in darkness. There was no moon tonight. The only thing that remained was the sound of the zither and the flickering light formed the boat on the river. Time slowly passed, and the sun appeared over the east, making the darkness fade. At the side of the river, Wang Lin was surrounded by empty wine jugs. The middle-aged man looked at the wine jugs and whispered, "Lord Bei Lu already knows of Brother Wang's arrival. He sent me here to deliver Brother Wang a message." Wang Lin's expression was neutral. When the demon emperor came, Wang Lin had already expected this. After all, the demon spirit land was now ruled by Bei Lu. Every time he devoured another ancient demon spirit, he would become several times stronger. Wang Lin drank the remaining half a jug of wine in one gulp. If Brother Wang agrees to leave one spot open to enter the fifth cave, 4 out of the 9 countries will be gifted to the soul refining sect. Also, Lord Bei Lu will not interfere with any matters regarding the soul refining sect, even the remnant of the cloud demon's demonic sense. The existence of the black stone could deceive a lot of people, but it couldn't deceive ancient demon Bei Lu. The reason he didn't do anything for hundreds of years and let it develop in the soul refining tribe was all for today. Wang Lin looked into the distance and calmly said, "Okay." The middle-aged man stood up, clasped his hands, and said, "Brother Wang, I have completed the task Lord Bei Lu sent me to do. Now I have a matter I'd like to request your help on. My Emperor Sword's sword spirit is the daughter of a good friend of mine. However, due to certain difficulties, she couldn't escape death except by becoming my sword spirit. She has been trapped here for countless years and has never left the demon spirit land. I'd like to ask Wang Lin to take this spirit out of the demon spirit land so she can enter the reincarnation cycle or encounter other fortunes." The middle-aged man's expression was bleak as his right hand pointed at the void. A ray of sword energy came from the palace, and the Emperor Sword was inside the sword energy. Wang Lin pondered a bit before he slowly said, "Why don't you seek someone else?" The middle-aged man shook his head and calmly said, "Countless people have entered the demon spirit land throughout the years, but there were few who I could believe in. However, I still had the power to protect the sword, so I missed the chance." Wang Lin let out a sigh. When the demon emperor arrived last night, Wang Lin detected a faint death aura from him. The demon emperor's lifespan was about to dry up. Although the people of the demon spirit land lived longer than ordinary cultivators, they still had a limit. If there were no accidents, it wouldn't be 30 years before the demon emperor died. As an acquaintance, Wang Lin had no reason to refuse, so he nodded. The middle-aged man smiled and revealed a look of relief. He then waved his right hand and the Emperor's sword turned into a girl. Her eyes were filled with reluctance. If it wasn't for the fact that a sword spirit had no tears, her eyes would be watery right now. "Be good, and don't be so stubborn anymore." The middle-aged man looked lovingly at the girl as if he wasn't looking at a sword spirit but his own daughter. After letting out a sigh, The middle-aged man clasped his hands at Wang Lin and bowed. "Many thanks, Brother Wang." With that, he turned around and walked away. In a few steps, he was far away, leaving behind Wang Lin, who was holding a wine jug, and the girl, filled with sadness and reluctance. "Let's go." Wang Lin drank the remaining wine in the jug and placed it on the side. Then he stood up and walked into the air. The girl looked at the imperial capital with eyes filled with sadness. She understood that this would be the last time she saw the demon emperor who treated her like his own daughter. The limit of one's lifespan was something that couldn't be changed. Filled with sorrow, her body turned into green smoke and returned into the emperor's sword. She let out a sad sword hymn and followed behind Wang Lin. The emperor's sword was like a ray of silver light that followed Wang Lin. As Wang Lin moved forward, he waved his hand and put the sword inside his bag. Then he spread out his divine sense before taking out the celestial cave token and disappearing in a flash of golden light. In the fourth cave, with Sichu Nan leading the charge, they continued to break the restrictions inside. There were too many restrictions in the cave, and as they broke them, items that belonged to celestials appeared before them. With Sichu Nan and company's cultivation, it wasn't difficult to break these restrictions. They charged directly toward the center of the cave. However, the power of the restrictions here had almost reached a peak. It was not something that could be broken with cultivation alone. Instead, you'd have to understand the restriction to break it. At this moment, there was a flash of golden light on the platform outside the cave, and Wang Lin appeared. He didn't hesitate and rushed directly into the cave. Along the way, he saw all the broken restrictions. Aside from the few at the entrance broken by others long ago, the rest were all broken by Sichu Nan and company. Shortly after, Wang Lin saw Sichu Nan and company. The three Chen brothers were sitting there cultivating with white gas surrounding them. It was obvious they had wasted a lot of energy breaking a restriction and were recovering. Big Head was next to the three Chen brothers. What surprised Wang Lin was that Big Head had some unexpected talent in restrictions. He was leading Lei Ji in calculating how to break a restriction. Master Hollow Wind had also studied restrictions, so he became the main force in breaking them. As for Sichu Nan and the woman in silver, they became responsible for any retaliation that might occur once the restrictions were broken. Wang Lin slowly arrived and immediately caught the attention of everyone. Sichu Nan had been here for several days and was already impatient. The restrictions around him made him dizzy as he only knew a little about restrictions. In his view, no matter how strong the restrictions were, as long as his cultivation level was high enough, he could break it. However, because he was in charge of dealing with the changes that might occur after a restriction was destroyed, he couldn't leave. Otherwise, with his personality, he would have already charged ahead by himself to break the restrictions. When he saw Wang Lin return, Sichu Nan's eyes lit up and he laughed. "You finally came back. I'm about to be bored to death here. This celestial cave isn't big, but it's not small either. We headed straight here, but there might be treasure elsewhere. I'm going to explore first." With that, he didn't even wait for Wang Lin to reply. He walked into a bamboo forest on the side and disappeared. With Sichu Nan's cultivation, Wang Lin wasn't worried about him. As for the poison, the two of them had spent some time and had come up with a method to temporarily suppress it without the need for a female cultivator. Worst case scenario, Sichu Nan would just be trapped and Wang Lin could rescue him later. Without stopping, Wang Lin arrived next to Master Hollow Wind and looked ahead. There was a small, flowing river 100 steps before them, and there was a thin layer of mist around it. There was a stone bridge that connected the sides of the river. This stone bridge was the only entrance. "This place is very strange. We have already been blocked here for 5 hours. No matter how I calculate, I can't seem to get a clue of this restriction. However, I have a feeling that if we open it by force, it will cause an unimaginable chain reaction, so we can't use force." Master Hollow Wind nodded at Wang Lin and explained in detail. He feared Wang Lin didn't know much about restrictions and would demand to open it by force. Wang Lin's expression was neutral as his gaze fell on the stone bridge, and he didn't speak. "This celestial cave is double-layered, and we are at a junction where the inner and outer layers connect. Once we pass this river, We will enter the inner part of the celestial cave. The restrictions here are too complicated, so we can't get past them in a short period of time. Big Head suggested that we don't cross the stone bridge but break the side and enter through the river. Master Hollow Wind spoke as he glanced at the Big Head, whose eyes were flashing as he gave an order to Lei Ji to throw punches at the restrictions ahead. Master Hollow Wind frowned as he looked at the river and said, "The 3 Chen brothers have consumed too much and are recovering. Fellow cultivator Sichu's plan was to wait for them to recover and we break it with our combined forces. I still have my reservations about that method." In his view, Wang Lin couldn't have cultivated for a long time. He had learned a few things about Wang Lin. To reach such a cultivation level in just over 1,000 years of cultivation is inconceivable. I'm afraid this Wang Lin doesn't know much about restrictions. After all, he hasn't had the time to master restrictions. It will have to depend on me and Big Head. Master Hollow Wind sighed inwardly. He knew his restriction abilities weren't very strong, and while he could handle the restrictions on the outer layer, he was already feeling like he was losing control at this junction. Wang Lin looked at the stone bridge and couldn't help but frown. No wonder Master Hollow Wind was stuck here. It was indeed as he said, if it was broken by force, the chain reaction would be unimaginable. I'm afraid this is the first hurdle to enter the inner part of the celestial cave. Although the 100 step before them looked ordinary, aside from what Master Hollow Wind said, Wang Lin noticed other potential threats. The restrictions here were very different from those in the outer layer. I need to experience it to see if it is as I suspect. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he slowly said, "Silver Corpse." The woman in silver's eyes narrowed and she moved next to Wang Lin. Her intelligent eyes stared at Wang Lin, waiting for his order. Wang Lin didn't look at the woman in silver. He looked at the stone bridge and calmly said, "Advance 10 step." Master Hollow Wind couldn't help but frown. This was the most unwise move to him. The restriction might be activated just like this. However, he only looked at Wang Lin without speaking. Instead, he took a few steps back and began to observe. At this moment, even the 3 Chen brothers opened their eyes. As they cultivated, the celestial spiritual energy entered their bodies. After frowning a bit, Master Yi Chen got up and said, "Fellow cultivator Wang, this matter is improper. Although I don't know much about restrictions, even I can see the hidden killing intent here. If we are going to open it by force, it is best to wait for us to recover so we have a higher chance." "No problem." Wang Lin waved his hand and interrupted Master Yi Chen. Wang Lin's command was absolute to the woman in silver. She didn't hesitate to enter that 100-step area. The moment her right foot landed, Wang Lin's eyes shined brightly. The woman in silver didn't stop and immediately took the next step. She had taken 9 steps in a row. The moment her 10th step landed, ripples appeared within the 100-step area and a faint mist appeared within the area. The mist quickly shot toward the woman in silver. In addition, as everyone watched, the 100-step area before them twisted as if there was a power tearing it. Wang Lin's eyes flashed rapidly as he calculated like crazy in his mind. He calmly said, "Attack with a spell to the left, then retreat back." The silver woman immediately obeyed. Her right hand flashed and turned into a rune that suddenly landed on the left. There was a bang as if a storm had swept by the area. The mist was all blown away and even the ripples disappeared. The woman silver calmly retreated outside the 100 steps range. Master Hollow Wind was startled by this, and his eyes shined brightly. Not only him, but even the 3 Chen brothers were startled, and they looked at Wang Lin with strange expressions. Without giving them too much time to think, Wang Lin stepped forward and leaped ahead. He landed where the woman in silver's 10th step was. As I expected, the restrictions here are very different from the outer ones. Although the changes to the restrictions near the river are endless, they only take one form. One is the dirt and the second is water vapor. Flashes of deduction appeared in his eyes as he continued to calculate. All the restrictions within the 100-step area slowly formed in his mind. Wang Lin had learned restrictions in the land of the ancient god, and he continued to improve them for over 1,000 years. Then, in all heaven, he inherited the annihilation restriction. Although the restrictions were strong, Wang Lin was not the same as he was in the past. Although his growth in restrictions was not as fast as his cultivation, it was still very fast. Wang Lin knew that his talent in cultivation was lacking, but he had amazing comprehension when it came to restrictions. This was something Wang Lin became aware of at the land of the ancient god. Having cultivated until now, Wang Lin had seen through it all. One's talent in cultivation was how sensitive one was to spiritual energy. The more sensitive one was, the better their talent. However, restrictions had nothing to do with one's sensitivity to spiritual energy. Restrictions all depended on one's calculations and deductions. It depended on one's mind. Wang Lin wasn't lacking in the mind, and his growth was almost superhuman in this regard. Otherwise, he couldn't have walked so far in his 1,000 years of cultivation. He stood at the 10th step and looked ahead. The restriction light in his eyes formed a storm, and in a flash, everything before him changed. The originally calm 100 steps contained 39,714 restrictions in total. These restrictions weren't independent, but all connected together. If one was activated, everything would activate with it. If it was Wang Lin before he learned the annihilation restriction, he would have found this a headache and wouldn't dare to carelessly step inside. He would have to wait outside and deduct more than 30,000 restrictions before he dared to attempt to crack them. However, Wang Lin's knowledge on restrictions had reached a completion, and he had inherited the annihilation restriction. He had also obtained the heart restriction, which was the peak of the annihilation restriction. Everything in the world could be trapped by restrictions. A universe could be contained in one's heart. Just one movement from one's heart could cause endless restrictions to form. While he deduced, he lifted his feet and walked 10 more steps. The restrictions within the 100-step area immediately activated as if a stone was tossed into a lake, setting off a chain of ripples. The power coming from the ripples even shocked Master Hollow Wind. Celestial restrictions are indeed intricate. I wonder how the All-Seer and Ling Tianhu broke the restrictions in their cave. Wang Lin's eyes lit up. He didn't stop and continued to walk forward. Sand appeared within the 100 steps, as if it had become a desert, and covered the area. The sand and stone formed a storm and roared. The storm shot directly at Wang Lin. Outsiders couldn't see this, but Master Hollow Wind and company were all powerful cultivators. They didn't need their eyes, they used their divine senses to see the shocking impact within that 100-step area. Wang Lin's expression didn't change. The moment the storm charged at him, he lifted his right hand and a restriction flew out. This restriction landed on the storm and made it collapse immediately. However, the storm was simply too big, it seemed to cover the world. Although it collapsed, it didn't affect the power of the storm. But the point of the collapse was on the lower part of the storm, right where Wang Lin was. As a result, the collapse continued, and Wang Lin walked through this storm. This simple restriction was something Wang Lin had learned after calculating countless times. The time, location, and size of the restriction all had to be perfect, or he couldn't produce a collapse just big enough for him to pass. Although it looked simple, it was not something ordinary people could do. Master Hollow Wind's eyes shined brightly as he stared at Wang Lin. He gasped as he was aghast at what he saw. He just couldn't believe that Wang Lin, who had only cultivated for such short period of time, had this much ability in restrictions. His calmness isn't fake, he is truly calm. I fear he has already deduced all the restrictions inside. He isn't going to break through by force, he will use restrictions to break restrictions. The three Chen brothers gasped and looked at each other. They respected Wang Lin even more in their hearts. After piercing the storm, Wang Lin moved even faster and walked 90 steps. He was only 10 steps away from the stone bridge. Just at this instant, the storm disappeared, but water vapor appeared and the sound of waves could be heard. In Wang Lin's eyes, the 100-step area suddenly turned into an ocean, and the angry waves smashed down on him. Wang Lin's eyes lit up. He was waiting for this moment. The moment the angry waves smashed down on him, Wang Lin's right hand hit his bag of holding and an item appeared in his grasp. This was the heart compass that the inheritor of the heart restriction had to have. Holding the compass, Wang Lin stood straight. The waves hit his clothes, and his long hair drifted backwards, making him look like a celestial. His left hand moved over the compass and crackling sounds came from the compass. Then it began to rotate. Wang Lin's left hand became like a shadow as he continued to move, and his eyes flashed. Without pausing, he took a step to the left. He then moved several feet in one step and dove into the angry waves. However, the moment he closed in on the angry waves, there was a flash of coldness in Wang Lin's eyes. He shook the compass in his hand and a large amount of restrictions flew out. Break! As Wang Lin shouted, the compass that flew out released a black glow. The restrictions around it rumbled as they pushed outwards. In an instant, the angry waves collapsed as if they had become obedient and shattered inch by inch before Wang Lin. The moment the waves disappeared, a scream came from inside the celestial cave and echoed throughout the cave as a sound wave. There was indeed someone controlling the restrictions. Wang Lin's eyes lit up. When he saw the restriction for the first time, he felt that something was wrong. The restrictions in the outer layer were all dead restrictions with no one controlling them. They all changed according to a rule and moved according to it. However, the restrictions within the 100 steps were different. He had the vague feeling that someone was controlling them. This was why Wang Lin had the female corpse enter 10 steps to probe. After observing the changes in the restrictions after advancing 10 steps, Wang Lin was certain his guess was correct. At this moment, he walked forward with the compass in his hand and stepped on the stone bridge. He then looked at the celestial cave before him and calmly proceeded forward. The cave of a celestial would not be simple. Wang Lin naturally knew this well. I just don't know what is inside the depths of the celestial cave to control the restrictions to prevent outsiders from entering. Master Hollow Wind revealed a gaze of admiration as he, the 3 Chen brothers, and Big Head quickly followed. Wang Lin stood on the bridge and carefully looked at what was before him. The inner part of the celestial cave was like a garden with flowers everywhere. Although it was a celestial cave, the colors gave anyone who looked at them a feeling that it was a mess. 4 pavilions carved from jade were on the sides, with a huge palace in the center. It had dragons and phoenixes carvings decorating it, along with other celestial beasts Wang Lin didn't know of. This gave this palace a sense of celestial might. In addition, there were 10 golden statues outside the palace. The 10 statues were all wearing armor as if they were celestial soldiers. Shen gold. Wang Lin's eyes narrowed as all 10 of these golden soldiers were made of Shen gold. This Shen gold was one of the key ingredients to strengthening the body of a celestial guard. A terrifying aura came from the depths of the dark palace and surrounded the area. Master Hollow Wind looked at the palace in the center and slowly said, "This old man once learned from Ling Tianhu that there was a celestial soul guarding the celestial cave. He put a lot effort into killing the celestial soul to finally occupy the celestial cave." Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he moved forward without hesitation. He stepped past the stone bridge and entered the inner part of the stone palace. The moment he closed in, the endless sea of flowers moved and the fragrance of the flowers rushed at him. It smelled like stone and contained abnormal poison. Master Hollow Wind revealed a strange expression as he quickly retreated and said, "Rain poison fragrance. I once looked at some celestial realm records, and one of them talked about the poisons of the celestial realm. It ranked the top 100 poisons and gave a brief description of each one. After refining countless flowers, there are 2 types of poisons that can be formed. One of them is this rain poison fragrance. If you smell it, your cultivation immediately becomes unstable, and if you inhale a few more breaths, you will lose all your cultivation." The 3 Chen brothers' expressions changed slightly, but they didn't retreat. After all, they were Nirvana Scryer cultivators, so they had methods to guard against it. Wang Lin looked at the sea of flowers before him and calmly asked, "What is the second?" The second, there was a trace of shock in Master Hollow Wind's eyes and he said, "The rain poison fragrance is only ranked 93, but the other poison named Flower Spirit is ranked 49. After withdrawing his gaze from the flowers, Wang Lin waved his right hand and a strange wind swept the area. However, Wang Lin was surprised to find that the poison wasn't affected by the strange wind at all. It was as if it had no form and still flowed toward them. Interesting. Wang Lin's eyes narrowed, but he didn't retreat. When the fragrance arrived, he calmly said, "Silver corpse." After he spoke, The woman in silver moved past the three Chen brothers and charged at the flower fragrance. When Wang Lin refined this corpse, he came to understand this corpse very well. It didn't have amazing spells, and for magic treasures, it only had that pair of scissors. Her real power was in poison. Back when the silver corpse was seriously injured and Wang Lin stole it, many other cultivators had similar ideas. However, they had all the flesh and blood in their bodies devoured until they were only bags of bones. Wang Lin had always thought that this was some kind of spell, but it wasn't until when he was refining her that he found it was a poison. While studying her, he found out that this silver corpse had extremely power poison in her. The poison was very diverse and could be mixed to form various terrifying poisons. As a result, the silver corpse became a poison corpse in Wang Lin's eyes. Poison was where the true power of this silver corpse lied. With her early-stage nirvana cleanser cultivation and the poison in her body, if it wasn't for the fact that Wang Lin had the body of an ancient god, dealing with her would have been a headache and he wouldn't have carelessly provoked her. At this moment, the silver corpse charged directly into the flower fragrance. The poison that could immediately cause one's cultivation to weaken and even kill weaker cultivators had no effect on the silver corpse. The silver corpse opened her small mouth and inhaled. It was as if a vortex had formed, and the flower fragrance was all sucked into her mouth. During this process, the invisible flower fragrance unexpectedly took physical form. Large amounts of gas flew off the flowers and quickly entered the silver corpse's mouth. The silver corpse originally had a pale face, but her face turned unexpectedly rosy, and she now looked no different than a living person. As Wang Lin watched all of this, his eyes remained neutral. His gaze wasn't on the silver corpse but on the flowers because they were very strange. There was no reason for this, but it was the first feeling he got when saw the flowers. Just at this moment, a large amount of silk appeared from one of the flowers, and within the silk was a girl. This girl was naked and her eyes revealed a ghostly light. She was kneeling, but her head was raised high. If it was just her, it wouldn't have been a big deal, but at this moment, silk exploded from other flowers, and more girls appeared one by one. The moment they appeared, Wang Lin clearly saw that there was a skeleton buried below each flower. What kind of sea of flowers was this? This was clearly a burial ground. Flower spirit. Master Hollow Wind had a face full of bitterness. He looked at the girls hugging their knees while looking up at the sky and bitterly smiled. I didn't think that the inside of this cave would have such a powerful protection. You bury celestials to form the spirit, and the spirit nourishes the flower to become a flower celestial. According to the records, where there are flower spirits, there might be a flower celestial. Flower celestials aren't celestials, but a poison. It is a poison with intelligence, and it can take human form. The poison of the flower celestial is ranked number 10. Master Hollow Wind slowly explained. The eyes of the girls hugging their knees released a ghostly light, then they all stood up and charged at the silver corpse in the air. According to the records, these flower spirits were all mortal girls that were fed unique drugs until they basically became living pills. Then they were collectively buried here with a special method. Several years later, a sea of flowers formed, and there is a certain chance they could fuse into a flower celestial. In the celestial realm, the flower celestial was an extremely precious poison because it could take human form, and so it was favored by the celestials. They would often get them to guard their caves or have fun with. Master Hollow Wind was worthy of being someone who had been cultivating for countless years. His understanding of celestials was very good, and the things he spoke so calmly about would shock most people. This was the first time the three Chen brothers had heard of this, and they couldn't help but be silent while looking at the girls charging at the silver corpse. They didn't pity them, they were shocked by how cruel the celestials were. Even Big Head gasped and silently pondered. In contrast, while Wang Lin's expression was gloomy, he wasn't shocked. In truth, after he learned Call the Wind, Summon the Rain, and Magic Arsenal, he understood that the celestial realm was no haven. He wouldn't revere the celestial like some cultivators did. From looking at Celestial Emperor Bai Fan's spells, he could tell that Bai Fan was not a righteous person. To be able to become a celestial emperor with self-created spells that were almost on the demonic path already showed what was wrong. It was just as Blood God had said, what kind of celestial spell is this? It is clearly a demonic spell. If Bai Fan was like this, Qing Lin was the same. The puppet refining method from the jade was extremely tyrannical to refine a living person. Wang Lin had already seen through it all. There was no haven for cultivators. Even the celestial realm was the same. After hearing Master Hollow Wind's words, he looked at the flower spirits. These girls had no expressions, but there was a resentment hidden in their eyes. This resentment was suppressed under a ghostly light and was unable to be released. As a result, it became gradually more powerful over the years. At this moment, these girls circled the silver corpse. As their eyes released a ghostly light, the resentment erupted. This resentment was so extremely strong that it was shocking. The resentment formed an impact and headed straight for the silver corpse. From Wang Lin's point of view, the girls surrounded the silver corpse and pulled her body as if they wanted to assimilate her. However, the silver corpse was already a corpse. Her eyes lit up and she spat out white fog. The flower spirits that touched the white fog immediately collapsed and disappeared into the fog. As the white fog spread, it covered almost the entire inner cave. As the flower spirits disappeared one by one, the flowers on the ground withered. Just at this moment, a sharp cry came from the depths of the palace. The earth shook and the 10 celestial soldiers outside began to move. They turned into 10 rays of golden light that shot into the sky. They were obviously trying to stop the silver corpse from absorbing the flower spirit. Without Wang Lin having to give the order, Master Hollow Wind's eyes lit up and he charged out. While his mountain-like body flew out, he waved his sleeves. With a bang, 3 of the Xian gold soldiers were separated from the pack to become his prey. The 3 Chen brothers all charged forward and dealt with one each. Big Head sneered and then charged forward. His lean body became even skinner and all the flesh condensed on his head. Soon, his head was twice as big as before and the veins on his face bulged. A moment later, one of the veins shot out and wrapped around one of the soldiers. Then he dragged the soldier with him to the side. The cave was in chaos as the silver corpse continued to absorb the white fog. At the same time, Master Hollow Wind and company battled the soldiers on the ground. These soldiers didn't know pain and their bodies were extremely tough. There were flashes of golden light when they attacked, and each of their punches contained the power of a spell. Almost every single celestial soldier was no weaker than a peak corporeal yang cultivator. Along with their terrifying bodies, they could battle Nirvana Scryer cultivators. Seeing that there were still 3 soldiers left, Master Yi Chen let out a cold shot and charged out. He blocked one of the soldiers and waved his big sleeves to push it back. He was now battling 2 soldiers. Master Yi Long and Master Yi Xiong had the same idea. This video will end here.